Like, I thought that there was some like thing where, like that would be like, there'd be some point where I would reach like peak fitness and I'd be in like, 5211, just like
cruising.
Hey guys, like, like.
Welcome back everybody to another episode of Bikes and Bourbon, where we drink bourbon and talk bikes. I'm Russ from the Path Less Pedaled.
And I'm Toffer from the Bike Path.
And today, while Toffer's uncorking the bourbon, we're going to be talking about 3 topics.
Gotta use my ninja knife skills here.
Don't hurt yourself.
No, hold on. No ninja knife skills required.
All right, yes.
Man, I thought I got to use a knife.
No. So we're going to talk about Campy's new 12-speed things. And then, well, what I think personally is the next big thing, which is smaller cranksets.
Yep.
Directly referring to an article on the
Got our
Radavus.
finger on the pulse here.
Yeah. And a little bit more about the gravel rant that I posted on the channel recently.
Yep.
And the Supple life, of course.
Yeah, here on me.
All right. So
Fill you up here. So this is, you picked out this Bowman?
yeah, I went to the local Grizzly store and said, what's new? And they had this on there. It's Bowman Brothers small batch, and it's Virginia. It's made in Virginia. Virginia straight bourbon whiskey. Have not tried before, so this is kind of like our uncorking impressions.
Some nice illustrations.
I didn't even notice that.
Some guys hiding back there. They're
Nice.
sneaky.
Yeah.
Sneaky
It is a cool bottle. I mean,
distillers.
I love this shape. And
Yeah. That's a nice cork too. It's a nice kind of big.
yeah,
feels
it
like
doesn't
you're-
feel like it's gonna disintegrate.
Right.
So
A little sweet on the nose. Apples?
yeah, good apples. Kind of got the typical bourbon smells, like vanilla.
Seems kind of like on the nose it's a little bit light, kind of more delicate. Alcohol is not
What is that? Is that 50 or
45.
45? Oh, so it's up there, but it's. And we can't drink too much because we got to set up tubeless tires after this.
So
Which is always an adventure. Wow, that's interesting.
it's a real easy drinker with those.
Getting kind of like a cherry, like kind of a minty finish. I don't know if that's from the alcohol, but it gets like real bright at the end.
Yep. There's a real lightness to it.
I definitely feel like it's on the bright side.
Yeah.
It's not like I feel like the 1792 small batch we tried was a little bit more earthy, kind of woodsiness.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is like on the upper end of the scale.
And it's nice because you get the sweet, and I'm still getting some apple on the nose.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely you get some other fruit.
I mean, it's good. It's decent.
It's-
It's not. I don't think it's like.
There's not a lot of complexity. It feels
No.
like those notes, there's a few things going on, but they're also like not, they don't like, I don't
Right.
know. It's just kind of,
It doesn't unfold much. It's
Right.
kind of like
It's
you have
there,
like,
and
and then
first impression, it doesn't knock your socks off.
right. It may get better the further we get down the bottle.
Does Campy knock your socks off? Ridden Campy recently.
Yeah, I was testing a Molten, those funky British bikes, and it was outfitted with Campy Athena, and it was the first time I've ridden Campy.
Never ridden.
No? Oh, you're missing out, man. Change your life.
I know. The Supple life has not been achieved fully yet.
I don't know. Like I have mixed feelings about Campy because I feel like for the longest time they don't make gearing for mere mortals. Like it was always like, for a while it seemed like the largest cassette you can get in the back was a 28.
Yep.
Which is cool if you're like racing or already super fit, but
Right.
as like someone that's into touring,
It's not a touring gear.
it is not a touring gear.
I always just associated them with expensive.
There's a reason for that.
I just was always like, and I guess my drive chain is not a place that I want to put like really expensive parts because that's the stuff that like is going to wear out on your bike. And so I've heard great things, and now I think that they're trying to branch out. They're trying, not maybe lowering their prices at all, but to appeal to like people that want 12 speeds.
I guess, yeah. It looks like we looked on their website. The new 12-speed group set, they offer like an 11 to 32. So a little bit lower than the 28. Not quite.
Offering.
Still
And if you
pretty
compare
big.
that with, I guess you'd have to be playing with your crankset.
Yeah.
You can maybe have a smaller something smaller up front.
Kind
like a
of,
50.
Yeah.
Like the 50, 52. big chain ring in the front. Like I think both of us would
Yeah,
be fine with that.
who decided that should be like the default chain ring for like, you know, everyday bikes? You know, I can see where it has its place in like the Pro Peloton.
Oh right, yeah.
For racing, but it just doesn't make sense. But before we jump there, do you think
you're not? I can just imagine somebody pedaling in 5211, like
right,
just trying to go get groceries, or like they're just trying to like go out for a spin on after work.
So here's the thing, like I remember like when I first got into bikes, I think I got an old used Schwinn, and it had like a road crankset. Like I think it was like a 53 or something, was a big chain ring, and like the cassette in the back was like maybe like, I don't even think it was 28. And you know, completely new the bikes. I was like, holy crap, this biking thing sucks. You know, because I was in the smallest chain ring, smallest gear, like right off the bat, you know, as a new cyclist. And I was like, man, this is terrible. Do we need 12? I mean, is it going to be like just an arms race to like, I don't know, a roll-off hub eventually?
Well, I think that people became more sensitive to the 12 speed when everything went one by.
That's true.
And so then there was the arms race, I think, because then people were like, I got to get some extra gears somehow because I want this one by thing. And I have always been a pretty big fan of a double, you know, smaller double, compact double.
Do you have any bikes with a one by?
The only bike I have with a one by is my single speed.
That's a one by one.
So yes, technically, but I mean, because I felt like that was also. Was that like a cyclocross? To me, it kind of came out of cyclocross racing. You were talking about, you know, cross bikes are made to go like fast on a set course for like an hour. And so you usually know what type of cassette. I mean, you don't need a lot of gears on a cyclocross course because like you kind of know what the course is going to be like. And so if you just have like, and then you don't need like your chain dropping off the front. And so like if you have like a really nice one by setup, then you're kind of set to go in cyclocross.
Yeah.
And I think some people thought maybe that would also translate to like gravel and bike packing a little bit, where it's like, oh, don't worry about your front derailleur, don't worry about multiple gears, use one by.
Right.
And I was actually, so I rode Rebecca's Private Idaho last year.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, it was kind of a sad state when like people are in like, you know, on these one by, and they're like in the granny gear going up the first climb, and they're just kind of like, you're almost spinning out. And, you know, when you do sort of any type of climbing, it's like you need gears, like you need stuff. So I'm happy to see that more gear options. I mean, I have an Eagle on my mountain bike, which is like
that's the one with
has like the pizza. You know, like I mean that
50 tooth pizza in the back.
Yeah, I mean that thing is like.
I just admit, like, are we like just heading towards a future where basically your entire rear wheel is going to be a giant cassette at some point? I can see brands, if they go any further, they're going to skip straight to 14 because 13 is an unlucky number.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Especially, you don't want to.
But I don't know, like I have mixed feelings about the one by. Like the Cutthroat that we have has a one by, and I feel like it's an okay gearing if. You know, unloaded, maybe doing an event. But once you put like bike packing gear on it, I mean, unless you're like a super fit rider or riding in like flat areas, it's just not it doesn't make sense as a gearing option. Like I actually would have preferred like a double. I mean, I've never had issues with like a double exploding on my bike, you know? So, final thoughts on Campy 12 speed. Like if I mean, neither of us own a bike with Campy at the moment, but let's say Shimano came out with a 2x12 or SRAM, would you be excited about it or be like, you know, 10 or 11's enough?
Yeah, I think 10 or 11's enough.
What's on your page street? You're like gears?
I can't remember. And I was just breaking down that bike today. It might be like 8 or 9.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, old school.
Yeah.
Instead of getting like hung up on the number of speeds, like I think like range is more important. Because you can have narrow range and like 50 choices in between them, but you're still not getting any lower or higher. You know? So like for me, it's like, you know, if there was like a wide range double, it was 9 speed or 10 speed, I'd be happy with that.
Like
I can tell you, I remember the first time I set up a bike 10 speed. I was like terrified after reading, I don't know if Grant wrote about it or someone, Sheldon Brown, but they're like, you know, 9 speed is optimal. Like this, beyond 9 speed,
at 10 speed,
your chains are just gonna explode like when it rains.
Black hole will open up and swallow you.
Yeah.
I try to ride in a very narrow range anyways. Like I try not to shift a lot, just because you often don't need it. And it's like if you do need like if you want to, I don't know, just like get out of the saddle and like climb up that little hill or I don't know. If you're really climbing and then like shift like kind of once to find a good gear, but then hold that gear for a little bit and like.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite actually. Like ever since I've gotten drifters, I'm like, I just have like I treat it like a fidget spinner. So next big thing. We've seen the emergence of, or rediscovery and celebration of fatter tires of the Supple life.
The Supple life, yep.
It wasn't too long ago when like 35 was big, and now it's like people have been sensitized to 40, 48 millimeter, nudging up to
well, everybody, because like people started like racing cross, and they realized, oh, there's bikes that made for these slightly bigger ones, and then now the Supple life is kind of coming to more and more bikes But so you've changed your tires.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the next big thing.
Now what do you need to look for?
Is going to be a rethinking of cranksets. There's a post on Radavist by Morgan. Once again, he was talking about some Easton cranks for a bike build he was doing, but it came with you could set it up beyond just a standard road double, which is like 50-32, 50-34 or something. So you had options. Like I think 46-30 was an option. Actually, 30 was about as low as it got.
Yeah. You don't want to keep it, like you want to keep 16.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's like the official party line is 16 tooth difference.
So here's the thing. I tested like these Sugino XD cranks from Sugino, like via Soma, and I set it up like 46-24. And on a Tiagra drifters just to see if it would work, and it actually worked. The front chain rings didn't shift awesome, but but it did it.
And the black hole didn't form.
No, But I just wanted to see like what was like the widest possible gear range. So I think I had 46. Like 24 in the front and then 1136 in the back. It was like, it was majestic.
it was everything a regular person could hope for.
Right. I broke that crankset though. So I don't know. Like, what do you think of this like sub-compact trend?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's like people use the 50 because that's what comes on a bike, or I think it's like 50, right? I mean, we're talking like 50 plus, which is typical on like a.
But I feel like that's bonkers that's the default. Like 50 is such a big gear.
Oh yeah, no, like I mean and if you're in a sprint in your local crit,
right,
or something like that, like then maybe having the 50-11 or whatever could be useful, but like.
For like that, like 0.5% of the time.
Or I mean, I guess like if you don't want to, if it annoys you that you spin out going down like a downhill,
right?
If you're like descending a road descent, and you want to like
go like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just like otherwise, I don't know what the point of that is for just kind of like comfort and ease for most riders. To me, like 46 would be like maybe typical, and then but even like. Lower, like I don't know,
so my Via is set up with a mountain double, so 40-28, and I'm like, for commuting and for loaded touring, that's like, I could spin out the 40-11, I think that's like 23 miles per hour or something at 90 cadence, but like how often am I going that fast?
The times when you're doing that are like the percentage of your total riding time is like maybe not going to be doing that, and so like why have a gearing that's like kind of designed for like 5% of your riding time?
Right. Yeah, I'd rather lose the top end speed and gain the lower end where I'm in, mostly because there's a lot of climbing in the area.
There's climbing, or
you're carrying stuff.
Yeah, you start loading. I mean, that's the other thing. Yeah, like you load up your bike with 20-30 pounds of stuff to go camping or on a tour, and all of a sudden like you were saying, like you get on a bike like that and you're like, oh, cycling is hard. Right. Like, look at this gear I have to be in. I must not be very good at bicycling if this is so challenging. And like I remember my partner Nikki got like her straggler is set up with that's like a 40/26 maybe. And yeah, like it's really, she was like, she had been on bikes that had come with like your typical, and
Road
it was
gearing.
like, oh wait, like this is so much more fun to ride. And
Yeah.
it's like even just, you know, on like flats, on pavement, on the street, you know, it's like, oh, I'm not like feeling like, oh, I gotta be in the big gear,
Yeah.
working out.
That never made sense to me. Like when I first got into bikes, you know, like I think my first bike was like an old Schwinn. And I remember like going to the bike shop or telling them, can I change this to a lower gear? And like, no, that's just what your options are, unless you want mountain bike gearing, but then they wouldn't, you know, like for whatever reason they wouldn't do it.
Because they were
I don't know, purist or something.
Purist.
Sticking a road double on entry-level bikes is the best way to turn off cyclists, new cyclists, you know?
Sure.
Like my biggest pet peeve is when a brand comes out with a touring bike or an adventure bike and they stick like a road double. I think that's lazy and it's like inappropriate for the use. I remember when I got the Space Horse, it was at the time like all cities only like touring style bike, and it came with like, I don't know, 5034 and 1128 or 1130 in the back. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, who's gonna tour on this? Like, but when I see bike brands do that, I feel personally insulted.
I don't, like, what does the Gorilla Monsoon come with? Hold on.
Internets. So 36 tooth, kind of big,
Yeah.
1142. Its lowest gear inch is 22.62. Slow-ish. That would be
So
like,
that's less than 23,
yeah.
and that's more than 22.
Yes.
All right.
That would be the equivalent of a compact, like road compact 50/30, like 34 by 32. So low, but not like if I were gonna do any extended off-road touring on that,
Right.
I'd change the front chainring to like a 32
Yeah.
or something. So it's kind of reasonably spec'd
Yeah.
for like events,
Sure.
but not for, in my opinion, not for loaded touring.
I don't think the Monsoon, though, I mean, I think it's supposed to be more gravel, day rides, longer days out.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. I would know if we had one to review though.
The thing that's important about cranks to me is that it does go kind of right to the heart of like fitness and your ability to like enjoy the experience of like the physical act of like spinning your legs.
Right.
and,
Yeah.
and not having to do that at on a you know, with gears that make you feel silly or
You have to give people options to meet them where they're at, or what
Right.
makes sense for what they want to do, and not default to like the most extreme end of that sport.
well, especially when I mean a lot of those like the Journeyman or something where it is priced. I mean, like you're pricing it to go towards like a beginner or entry level.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, why would you not design your bike to satisfy like the needs of the riding needs of those people too?
If Salsa had put a road double on the Journeyman, that would just be like asinine. But like I was actually impressed with that choice. Like that's actually one of the things like I like the most. It's like, okay, entry level price point. They're trying to get the beginner cyclist.
And it did have a nice, it had a double on it.
Yeah, it's got a double. It's not one by. It's not like overly geared. It's 46/30 in the front, so not a road double.
Yeah.
The rear, they could have. I think it was a 34. I think they should have just gone like full on 36.
An entry level bike based on its kind of price point, and then they have a gearing that kind of goes with that. And
Right.
so I think that people would have a positive experience on that
Right.
bike and go,
Right.
oh, like, and if they get super fit and they want to
Yeah.
like race, I mean, that's the thing is that like if then you get a customer who's super happy and wants to do more biking, and
Yeah,
so
you're setting them up for success.
and then they want to like buy more of your products, or they want to like.
But it's good to have like that from that first experience, rather than like someone hopping on a bike that has like too high of a gearing and then being in lowest gear like right out of the parking lot,
Right.
and they're like, man, I'm a loser.
Right,
You're-
why can't I fly around on this thing? Like,
Right. Yeah, you should spec it. The gear should set people up for success.
Well, the other thing that I thought is that you had to be in the hardest gear, or that was like the goal.
Right. If you're not grunting with every pedal stroke, you're.
I thought that there was some like thing where like that would be like there'd be some point where I would reach like peak fitness, and I'd be in like 5211, just like
cruising.
Hey guys, like, like
Yeah.
at a stoplight and then just pedal easily away from a stoplight in 5211. And
Yeah.
So
I wonder if it's
like,
if it's not this, like the roadie, Pro Peloton has kind of dominated bike design and like how the industry talks about bikes for such a long time.
Right.
Now that there's another voice, they're not just defaulting to like, okay, compact double, or like kind of the snobbery about gearing. Like if you can't turn over a 50, you're not a real cyclist.
is that because, do you think that, so this is another topic maybe for another day, but like the whole thing, I mean, there's the shift away, is it just because pro cycling is so corrupt and just people are done with it?
I also think almost everyone that I've spoken to that likes riding gravel roads or touring on mixed terrain.
Yeah.
Like the biggest thing they talk about is like the traffic. I think
Sure.
like traffic's gone so bad, or at least the visibility of like cyclists dying has gotten so high that's
Right.
like I don't if I can avoid being on a road with cars, and
Right. Yeah,
I'll do
sure.
that. Or also
Safety first.
I mean, I also think, here's another thing, like, it used to be that the only kind of sponsorship dollars or media play that brands would give to would be pro cyclists. But now,
Because you had to like get on a Wheaties box. To
right,
be noticed.
wear some kind of funky yellow thing or something.
Yeah.
But now it's like there's the rise of the adventure brand ambassador. Like I think Specialized took it to the next level when they did that like film series. So they're finding heroes, finding other spokesmen that aren't
Right.
professional
Well,
cyclists.
like how like social media has like leveled the playing field in a lot of spaces, where
Right.
the access to entry and to get followers to listen to you
Yeah.
has changed things. And then so now, there's somebody out there writing doing some not really typical writing that maybe has
Right.
traditionally been what that cycling has been about, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, but that person has a lot of
a billion followers.
yeah, like, and it's like, oh, we want to like
that is an
piece
interesting
of that,
point.
and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, if they're riding our bikes,
Yeah.
then we get all those followers seeing
Yeah.
our bikes in use.
So definitely, thank you, Ultra Romance. Apparently.
yeah, yeah,
But that is a good point. Because I mean, like in like a media landscape where it's only the brand talking down, they're gonna kind of dominate like what's cool. But in a time when everyone can kind of build their own soapbox and their own platform, then like other voices, other types of writing can be elevated.
Right.
It's kind of created space for different voices, for different types of cyclists to,
yeah, for them to be out there. And I think that's great that it's not just, like you said, the brand's talking down to the cyclists and saying, this is what we think you would like to
Right.
ride. Have you ever thought of this new carbon road bike?
Right,
It's like,
yeah.
no. Yeah, I mean, but I think
or
that's...
this 12th speed that you need.
So you didn't know you needed that 12th speed.
Right.
But we are happy to sell it to you.
Right.
Yeah, no,
for a price.
I think it is great that like Ultra Romance, not only does he have like a crazy amount of bikes, but I mean he's in that, I think his bikes are like kind of, they're fancy.
Right.
But I think also like some of the things that he promotes where it's like,
Yeah.
Or just things that like kind of make sense too.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, a lot of the gearing I think that he has on his bikes are from like what I remember of some of his, like seeing stuff on like the Radivis of some of his early bikes from several years ago. Yeah, they're like geared to be normal. Like,
Right.
because I mean, he tours and he does all that stuff, and so then that's thanks social media.
But I do like this trend of like the democratization of like bikes. Like, like if you guys watched my gravel rant video, it's like, we're finally getting bikes for the people. It's
So-
not like this kind of top down.
Another potential topic for another day. Handlebars.
Yeah.
Is there a way, like, do you think drop bars will not be as popular, and people will move more to like a Jones bar that might give you multiple hand positions, or
I think the
will bar-ins come back?
I think I think drop bars will always be there, but it'll change.
Yeah.
Like I think we'll see them get wider because like the
Once
only
again, Ultra Romance.
right. Well, you brought up a good point. The only functional reason why you would want as narrow a handlebar as possible is so if you're doing a field sprint, you don't tangle up. But if you take away like any non-racing use, then it's more comfortable. You get more leverage.
Right. You want your
yeah. And for me, I have a big problem because like I'm short, but I'm wide. Like, you know, so when I get like so when I get like a small bike, like the handlebars are always so narrow, and like, oh, this bike sucks. So I think we're gonna see a trend in not only wider handlebars, but also like kind of what the default handlebar placement's gonna be. Because it used to be like even or below. Right. Yeah, you gotta slam that stem. But I think we're gonna see like a general acceptance of like, especially with dirt drops, like where the optimal position is like where it's actually higher.
Kind of more upright. Yeah. So
there's a lot of rethinking. We've seen it with tires. We're going to see it with cranksets. I think handlebars will actually be the
and
third
all these
thing.
Things contribute to our favorite topic,
the Supple life.
The Supple life. Yeah.
You know what we haven't done? Reader comments.
Oh, we got to go back here.
Okay, so we'll
we'll get these in here.
So we've got some reader comments, and what's amazing, knock on wood, I think this is wood so far, is that there's no hopping on the last video.
Yeah.
I think the people that hate this show have finally stopped watching or discovered that they can actually click away.
You don't have to click.
Just because you start it doesn't mean you have to finish it, people.
You love Pathless Pedal. We're grateful. But yeah, if it's not your thing, just...
It's not like state-sponsored TV, you can't look away. 88 Wood Bikes. I thought this format was lame at first. Now after a glass of bourbon, I realize how epic it is. So thank you, 88 Wood Bikes. And I think that that seems to be most people's experiences. Another one, Diana Thuralt, frequent commenter. I enjoy watching the bourbon silly guys. I guess that's us. At first, I was put off by the bourbon, but as I watched and listened a bit, I've learned there are stuff that is worth listening for.
Sometimes we talk about stuff worth listening for.
Some people don't like to drink at all, which is fine. You can drink La Croix instead.
Yeah.
But
coffee.
Yeah.
Tea.
The bourbon's really like an anchor. Otherwise, it would just be two people bullshitting. Right? Which is not as cool a hashtag.
Well, and we also, I think both of us like to combine, as the bike industry is also kind of doing, maybe paying attention to folks like us that are just not just solely interested in bikes. Like we like bike camping, bike fishing.
It's a refinement of the sport.
Yeah, bike bourboning. And so for us, it's like bikes are a great kind of like common ground that we can meet over, but then we have interest, and then we get to, like whether it's having like a bourbon and talking about that, or having fishing experiences, and talking about stuff like that. It's like that bikes are not...
They're not the only thing. They are
important, but they're not the only thing.
Right. Sam Hopwood, another frequent commenter from Cornwall, UK. He said there's a rad scene for about any type of riding, but lots of people who ride one specific type of bike and are so tribal about their type and super down on any other tribe. Yeah. That's true. I mean, there's a lot of like tribalism, silos in the bike space. It's a really noticeable thing over here at the moment in many aspects of life. It's like we enjoy being divided, unfortunately, yes. Thankfully, there are many people adopting the surf style, ride everything ethos, non-competitive and open-minded vibe, and it's super good to see. So he's totally loving the PLP videos, the BikesxBourbon, and a really great balance of subjects, delivery, positive and grown-up commenters. You're all grown up. And follower discussion. So he's digging it. So thank you, Sam Hopwood, for this comment, and he's left a bunch of comments.
Yeah, I think that's the nice thing though, is about like the PLP talks. There's people who you've talked to on that their brands or they run a business. Like I just was listening to Randy Joe, and I have several of her bags, and like she's really nice, and I like emailed with her about things before. But it's always just been that kind of, and it was nice to hear. I mean, that's what this is also about, is getting some more personality with our bikes. And
I mean, I think my aim for this content and other stuff on the channel is that kind of other second layer of content. You know, instead of like a video that's just like a product review or reading someone else's press release, actual like kind of digesting of what's going on, thoughts, opinions, in an adult fashion.
Right. Does that mean we're gonna see more rants on the channel?
Possibly. I might. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't. I honestly didn't know how well that would do.
Yeah.
Like that video came about from all these comments about like, you know, gravel bikes are dumb. Why do you only talk about hipster bikes? You know, stuff like that. And it was just so frustrating.
Yeah, no, I appreciated. There's a couple of people that commented about that video that were like, you know, the passion that you kind of, it was very like, just
born out of frustration.
Well, but it was just also just like, you know, that I think that like you just, like these are things that we care about. We like riding bikes and we want to make them fun and accessible for people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating when you see that things are not like, it's like, no, this doesn't have to be like the tribe. Like you don't have to defend this position because you hate a word, like you hate gravel or you hate adventure.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
don't get hung up on that. Just go past it and there's a really nice bike there waiting for you.
You have to dig through a little bit deeper, suspend, you know, immediate judgment, you know, be open-minded.
Yeah.
All qualities of the Supple life. Mm-hmm. So we last episode we were batting around manifesto. I think tenet number 1 is ride bikes, all sorts of bikes, whatever bike you have.
And I think that's the thing. Like one of the things about the Supple life and the philosophical sense of it is, you know, riding bikes and riding them to do like you do other things sometimes.
So not being so like stringent in like bikes all the time, but being open to like other activities.
Right. I mean, that's like what, you know, I think the like bike camping, coffee outside.
Right.
Those things are about that. Like I like to get around by bike and I like to have fun on my bike and I like to travel long distances or travel by bike. I like to tour, but it's like, I also want to go camping. And so it's like,
there's other components.
I don't have to like do a 3-hour road ride on my carbon, you know, 50 by 11.
Right.
And I can incorporate my bike ride into my camping.
Right.
So I'm not going for a bike ride in the morning and then driving in the afternoon to go camping. Or something.
Right.
You know, like you can combine them.
Yeah. So I think this is why like the bike industry has a tough time with this kind of, I think, big piece of the market that's underserved, because it's not easily defined into, you know, road racing, mountain bike. It doesn't fall easily into a silo. So it's like they're having a really tough time to address that market, develop product for that market, because it's not something that they can just, you know, put in a box.
Right. And I think that's what I see though with like the Gorilla Monsoon or the Midnight Special. I mean, those are comfortable bikes that if you wanted to go camping on them, you could. Bike fishing, they have all the spots for like racks so that you can put
all the holes.
You can put all your stuff on there. It's impressive to see like your setup with all the bike, I mean all the fishing stuff, all the like.
So for the record, Supple Life does not adhere to the stringent rules. That's the topic of that. That'll be for next one. Like Belamonte, I think that's the company or whatever, they came out with the rules of cycling.
Yeah.
And Supple Life is kind of like the antithesis of that. That'll be the next BikesxBourbon.
Yeah, I mean ride bikes for whatever you want to ride bikes for. Like or like I mean that's the great thing about bikes is that there's like if you want to ride bikes, you know, up to the top of a mountain and hang out there and go paragliding, you can probably do that.
You can do it over there.
I feel like that's the thing is this, like there's a bike for you. And I think the Supple life, I mean, one of the things that we love about Supple tires is once you can just like bring it back to like thesis statement here or like
take it home.
It's just that like
concluding paragraph.
It's just that it's like it's the whole point of like Supple tires beyond. I mean, to you know, it's just that it's like it's comfortable and it like they're making things like better for the rider.
Right.
And it's not about kind of the rider fitting into bikes, but it's like the bike fitting into your lifestyle.
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for other tenets of the Supple life, leave those in the comments below. And I think we'll wrap up here because it's going long. But any last thoughts on the Bowman brothers? Love it, hate it? Would you say it's a background kind of bourbon?
Yeah, I mean, I would almost say this would be a good flask.
It's not screaming for your attention every
like you can just like it's a nice, I mean, it has some nice flavors to it, but it's not, you're not like needing some, when you're just like wanting a sip of bourbon. This would do it. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to like spend a long time, one night just kind of mulling over the complex notes.
It's not an existential bourbon.
Right.
On that note, thanks again for watching, and
keep the supple side down.
Cheers.